this.
Thanks, Felicia. Hello, everyone. I'm Dondi with FloraCraft, and I'm gonna get this in front of you. I'm here by myself today, so I have to do a couple technical. Oh, maybe not. Trying to shut off the screen so that it's not covering up my video. There we go. And hold on 1 second.
Dondi, while you get that taken care of, I just want to tell you we have so many people joining us from LA, Tennessee, Michigan, Illinois, Pennsylvania, California, North Carolina, Massachusetts, Indiana. Oh, what did I miss? There's more people from all over today. So
wow,
enjoy the class, everyone.
A lot of people getting ready for fall decorations. That's great. So yeah, so we did this, or I did this time on our straw wreath, usually using our XPS foam wreath, and I thought we would switch it up and show you our beautiful straw wreath.
We're sorry, everyone. It looks like Dondi is looking for something, so she should be right back.
So our straw is a little bit different than some of the straw that you'll see on the market. It's really bright, nice. We call it sun bleached. Very clean, very sturdy, so it's going to hold your stems real nice. So it's just a really nice straw wreath that we have. We want to go to overhead. I'll show you what I found at Michael's to create this. So, like I said, this is our straw wreath, and it comes wrapped in plastic wrap to keep it from shedding all over. So when you go to take this off, it's going to be all the way around. I just have a little on here to show you. When you go to take this off, just make sure that you unwrap it. Just goes round and round and round. If you take a knife or a scissors and try to cut this plastic off, we have clear filament line that's wrapped around our wreath that holds it together. And if you use scissors or a knife to get the plastic off, you might cut into one of those, and then your wreath's not going to stay together nicely. So you'll need 12-inch straw wreath. You'll need 1 bouquet. This is a mixed mum bush, orange and creams. Has a couple little pumpkins in it. 1 of those. You'll need 1 of these little, I believe it's a Strawflower bush, just 1. You'll need 1 little Zinnia bush and cream, just 1 of those. And I added these in, these little, I don't know what they are, little footballs, just for some fun texture. And then I used this gold filler to fill in at the very end, just to close in any open areas that might have. And then to add some fun texture, we're going to add in links of burlap and links of rope. And then what's left of the rope we're going to use for a little hanger. Seems like my video is not keeping up with my voice. Is that true?
He looked okay on my end, but you look to be frozen right now.
I think my screen was just catching up. All right, so for tools, am I unfrozen? It's just,
Yep, you look good on my end.
all right. So for tools, we're gonna use wire cutters to cut the flower stems. You'll need some scissors to cut the burlap and the rope. And then we might use some of these, they're called wired wood picks for some of the more fragile stems that you can't quite get into the straw. These help. And then for adding the rope around the outside edge, we'll be using these floral pins or greening pins, they're called. So the first thing we're gonna do is start with our mixed bush. And on the stem, you'll see that they all have little leaves that are on the same stem with them. So if you push those leaves all the way up under that blossom, it's gonna help fill in around the wreath a little nicer. So we're gonna cut these off to about 1.5 to 2 inches. Just enough to go into the wreath. Probably 2 inches. We're just gonna take all these off. We're gonna use them all. We're just cutting them at 2 inches. And we'll use these little pumpkins also. Has anyone used our straw wreaths before? Any projects?
You know, I'm not sure if anybody's used our straw wreaths yet, but Dondi, someone is wondering if you could use foam as a substitution for the straw wreath.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our extruded foam wreath or our XPS foam wreath would both work just as well for this. I just I liked the texture of the straw for fall. So that's why I picked straw. And you don't have to be as careful about covering the outside or inside edges of the wreath because it kind of fits in with the fall theme, straw. All right, so we'll place our orange ones first, the orange mums, and all I did with these, also, if you want these to stay in a little better, you can add a little bit of low temp glue to the stem before inserting it into the straw, and that'll hold it in there really nice. They stay pretty good all on their own, but there's gonna be wind or a lot of well, that's strange. Huh, well, so bush that I got, I had 3 orange mums. On this one, I got 2 and a whole bunch of sunflowers. So I'm gonna lay this one down so you know what it's supposed to look like, I guess. Can everyone see that kind of? And then, in case someone else has, I don't know if I should just borrow it from the other one, just so that you guys can see yeah. I'm just gonna borrow it from this one and put it. Like that. Know what happened, why this one doesn't have 3 orange. All right. Anyway. Does everyone else have 3 orange? Does anyone else have this trouble? Is it just me? All right, 3 mums. Evenly spaced around the wreath. That's your first step. Then we're gonna take 3 sunflowers, and we're gonna put those in between the mums. So it's kind of big. All right. So 3 and 3 evenly spaced. Sort of like that. And this one will go. All right. So next, in between all of those flowers, I put a little piece of burlap and a little piece of rope. For the burlap, I cut it about 9 inches. So you'll cut your 9-inch piece. Actually, you'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll need 6 of them. So if you want to go ahead and cut those, if you use your first piece as a guide, if you don't have a ruler, about all the same. We have people crafting along with us today, Emma.
I'm not sure. If you're crafting along, please be sure to let us know in the chat, and be sure to use hashtag FloraCraft or hashtag Make It With Michaels to share your projects with us.
Yes, we want to see. All right, once you have your 6 pieces cut, I like to put a little dovetail, I call it. So if you fold your piece in half, fold it in half and then fold it again at the fold, you'll have your 4 cut edges, and you can go from the inside middle of your fold out to the corners, and then you'll put 2 little dovetail in your burlap, and that just gives you nice little tails to stick out from your arrangement. I'll do a couple of those and get them in.
Dondi, we have a great question from someone. I think when they were shopping at Michael's, they saw our straw bales because it's that time of year. Is the straw in our bales the same as the straw that's in the wreath that you're using today?
Absolutely, it's our it's the exact same straw, and it's has our same sun bleached look, very clean, very sturdy to hold up all your florals. Or you can use it on use the bales on your porch just as like props to set your maybe container of mums or fun Halloween decorations or fun fall decorations. So we're folding in half again. Then from the fold to the corners, let's make an angle cut. Gives you your little dots. Then I just like to pinch it in the middle to gather it together, like so. And then these floral pins work great. You just straddle your pin right over top of your, where you have it puckered in the middle. And it just makes a nice little burlap pick, just for some fun texture.
Dondi, would you recommend anything in place of the burlap if someone didn't purchase that from the project?
Sure, any ribbon, any fall ribbon or textured ribbon. I mean, honestly, you could replace it with a blossom of some sort. If you find another pretty blossom that you'd rather have a little more color than texture in here. So sure, anything. They have some beautiful ribbons at Michael's right now for fall. That would definitely work in here. I just like the fun texture. The last one. Eat it. And floral pin, you just straddle it over the top. And insert it right in there. So there's our burlap between all of our flowers.
Dondi, can you remind us how long of a burlap strip we should be cutting for the project?
Yep, I cut these at 9 inches long. And this is the Ashland, it's is it 6 inch or 5 inch width burlap. All right, and then I wanted to add a little more fun. So I found this rope. And they have several different thicknesses of rope at Michael's. I liked this, and this kind of adds a little movement, you know, if the wind blows or the door opens and closes, you'll see a little movement in your wreath, and I always think that's kind of fun. All right, so for these, I cut these at 14 inches. And then if you don't want your rope to unravel every time you cut it, we're gonna tie the ends anyway, but one thing you can do is put a piece of tape over the section that you're gonna cut, and then cut through the tape, and then the tape will stay on either side of your cut and your rope will unwrap. But for this, we're gonna tie up the ends anyway, so I'm not gonna use any tape. So all you're gonna do is just make a knot at the very end of the rope. Real tight. And then you can even fray those little ends if you'd like, just to give a little more texture. So you're just tying a knot at each end. We're gonna take our floral pins right in the middle of that rope. Just thread it through. Oh, fruit fly bugging me. And we're gonna put this rope piece right next to kind of over top of the burlap and just let that be loose. Kind of want both ends to the outside edge of the wreath, or else they'll kind of get buried in there with all the flowers. And we're gonna cut 6 of these at 14. So I'm gonna use my
Dondi, do you have a suggestion if someone wasn't able to buy pins to help secure the components?
Yeah, you could use little pieces of stem wire, and I know that Michael's has stem wire there. Maybe like a 18 or 20 gauge stem wire. And then I would just cut maybe 4-inch, 3.5-inch pieces of wire, and then just fold them over in a U shape and make your own floral pin. That would work. It's fun.
All right, Dondi, I have, well, I should start by saying you probably know what time of day it is.
I think it's time for the joke of the day.
Yes, at FloraCraft, you may or may not know that we like to make it fun. So I love to come up with a joke of the day. And are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Why did the Scarecrow win a Nobel Prize?
Is it for growing a heart?
No, but that would be good. Are you ready?
That one needed the heart. No, he needed. Oh, anyway, go ahead.
He was outstanding in his field.
Of course. My goodness, Emma, where do you find them? Oh, that's cute. He needed a brain. The Scarecrow needed a brain, not a heart. That was the Tin Man.
You were very close.
All right, so we're just tying a knot in both ends of these 14-inch links of rope. You're gonna need 6 of them. And we're putting them in right with all these pieces of burlap in between the flowers. And you want both ends of your rope to point to the outside of the wreath. So. I'm seeing Halloween decorations already. Are any of you decorating for Halloween already? Can we start out with fall? 'Cause isn't it pretty? Yeah, they were skeletons. They had skeletons on their porch already.
Dondi, someone's asking, are you pinning the rope through the burlap or are you placing it next to it?
Right next to it. You can go over top if you'd like, if you can get your pin over, but I'm just pinning it right next to it as tight as I can get to it. So we do have some people crafting along.
We do. And someone said that their scarecrow would melt in the heat. They must
Oh,
not be from Michigan.
that's heat if it's gonna melt the scarecrow.
Wow, and someone else shared that fall is their year-round theme, and they put up their Halloween decor right after the 4th of July until Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness, how fun is that? I know some people go crazy with Christmas. I've never heard Halloween. I don't know, some of the um, Halloween products at Michael's are so much fun that I think I would have a hard time putting them away at the end of the year. Got some really cool Halloween right now. Well, last time I was in there. All right, last rope. And there next to the burlap or on it, however you can get it in there. So we have all the little tails sticking out. Fun little texture. And then save the rest of this rope. This is what we're going to use for our hanger at the end. All right, so the next thing that needs to go in are these little star flowers. And you'll notice that a couple of them have a third flower on the stem. But we're just going to use the little double ones right now. So you're going to cut those at about 2 inches. You're gonna need, where did I put them? 6 of them, I believe, of the double blossoms on the stems. Oh, strange. Four little double ones. Looks like these others I gotta cut off separate. So there won't be a double, there will be 2 separate stems that you'll cut off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 1 more double. 6. And then these last little guys we'll use on the inside edge of the wreath. So set those aside for a minute. So you're gonna put a little double star flower or straw flower, I think they're called, and put it on the outside edge of the wreath. And you're gonna put it by every mum and sunflower all the way around the outside edge. That's just gonna take that little bit of weight around the outside edge for you. Might have a little trouble getting it through the straw, and if you do, just kind of wiggle your stem back and forth, and it'll kind of pry apart those pieces of straw and help you get it in there a little easier.
Dondi, how would this do outside in the weather? We know fall can be a little bit unpredictable, sometimes rain, sometimes sun, sometimes snow.
Yeah, I think everything on here is fine. I mean, rain and snow are gonna, freeze it up and make it a little weather worn, I guess, but as far as the straw being okay to be outside, it'll be fine. It'll hold up nice for you. For the straw flower for the outside edge by your bigger blossoms here. And that just gives you a little bit of white peeking out around the outside. And then take these last few off the stem. Cut them at a couple inches. We're just going to put those around the inside edge of the wreath, just to bring that flower type and that color on the inside. Maybe. So we have 4 of them. So we'll just put them evenly spaced around. Give a little of that color. There we go. Kind of peeking out of there. And they have a couple of these pumpkins too that are on this mixed bush. So what I did, there's 2 of them. So I just made sure that you have one on one side of the wreath and then one across from it on the other side. And that's just kind of another fun texture. Put in there. Maybe over here. There we go. Perfect. Then I liked these guys too. So they're a little bit, the stems are a little flimsy and kind of hard to get into the straw. They're not really strong enough. So that's where we take the wired pick. So you're just going to lay your pick alongside your stem like that. And then take this wire and wrap it around and round and round, all the way down the stem and the stick, securing them together. And then just be careful because that little wire is sharp. So just bend that wire down so it's not sticking out to get you in your finger. And then probably cut this down about half. And I put these in right by the burlap. So you're going to insert them at an angle so that they're kind of springing out from the little burlap and rope. Yeah, I'm just going to cut a little, about an inch, inch and a half. Take your wood pick, just lay it right next to your stem, and you're just going to wrap around and around and secure it together. And you can take floral tape and add floral tape around there also, and that'll give a little extra security. So then this goes in at an angle pointing out towards the edge of the wreath, outside edge. And so it kind of dangles over your rope and your burlap. About an inch and a half. And next to your stem. Secure it. Just gives a nice sturdy stem. Just insert into the straw. inch and a half. And secure on your wood. Next to the burlap rope. And then an angle up, and that lets it kind of bounce a little. Oops, I missed one. I'll put that one. Questions so far? See anything again?
No questions, but people are really loving this wreath, Dondi. Just a couple comments. People are excited to try it, and we're excited to see how you do. So make sure that you share with us online using the hashtags that we provided in the chat.
Definitely, and don't get hung up on the florals because you can do this with anything. Swap out your own color scheme. Use the florals that you have already. Just the idea. Using texture in your wreath. Set those in. Add some fun little bounce. Then the zinnia, I liked this white. And I just wanted to round out the outside edge. So I just took these. I cut the stems to about 3 or 4 inches. And I'm gonna put them. Add one of those to the outside of every burlap piece, right by those little poofs that you just put in. You want those to stand out a little bit. You don't want to tuck them in all the way. Maybe turn them up so they, oops, so you see the face of them. So a little bit longer stem, about a 4-inch stem. And you're going to put it by every burlap piece. Stick it out from the wreath just a little. And turn that face of the flower up a little so you can see it from the front.
Someone mentioned that it's very pretty and they need some more supplies. So make sure you go to Michael's, check out this supply list that was posted. And as Sandy mentioned, you can certainly switch out any of the florals that she used to make it your own.
Yeah, and Michael's makes it so easy. They have all their collections so that you can find pieces to go to match your color scheme very easily. Have it all laid out.
Oh, and someone had a great idea. Kathy said that she could see this being used as a base and then maybe adding some spooky ornaments for Halloween and then even transitioning to Christmas by adding, or Thanksgiving, she said, adding some Thanksgiving ornaments.
Definitely, yeah, keep it around. Use it as long as you can. But I like that idea for sure. oranges. All right. That brings that white color a little more prominent around the wreath. Right. And then the last thing we're gonna add are these gold filler flowers. And all I did for this was just find about the middle of the stem and cut it in half, so you have two pieces from each stem. And you'll put one in. We're gonna do it by every sunflower and every mum, so you'll put one little sprig going out the outside of the wreath and one little sprig towards the inside of the wreath. We're gonna do that all the way around. It's just gonna add some fun, warm color to your wreath. So again, and cut it in half so you have two equal pieces. And we're gonna go one facing to the outside of the wreath and one facing on the inside. Or angling, I guess, angling towards the inside. So sprig leaning out, outside edge, and the sprig pointing in towards the inside edge. And sometimes you gotta unbury your flowers that get hidden in there. Find the center. Two pieces. Go to the next flower. And you want sprig angle out. And a sprig angle in.
I know I talked about using this outdoors, but we have some other recommendations, and someone mentioned using this as a centerpiece. That could be very pretty.
It could. Yeah, Michael's has those beautiful battery operated candles that would be so very safe in here. You could put a few of those in the center. Be very pretty.
Now, Dondi, how do you think our straw would last long term outdoors? Someone's asking if you were to keep it up through the seasons, modifying the colors and things like that. How long realistically do you think it could last outdoors?
I mean, as long as it's not getting soaked, because they discolor a little bit once if they get real wet and stay wet, I've noticed. But if you can keep it fairly dry, I mean, it would last from season to season easily. Oops, where am I? I think I put these in the wrong spot. I did. Okay, over here next to your flower. That's where I wanted it. You just put them on the same side of the flower all the way around the wreath, keeps them kind of even. So we had this piece, that's all of our flowers in there. We had this piece left over. Well, what I did is I used this for the hanger. So I just tied a knot in the two ends. And then tied a knot. So first let's find the middle. Find the middle of the rope. And we're gonna put that right at the bottom of your wreath and pin it in place. And you're gonna bring it up around the sides of your wreath. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant at the, you're gonna pin the center at the top. Bring it down around the bottom. Secure it again with two pins. And you can glue these pins in place so that they don't slide off your wreath, and this is your hanger. But it's also kind of a side, kind of a decoration too, because you see it on the outside edge of your wreath. So we started at the top with the center, brought it around to the bottom, and then twist. And then brought the edges back up to the top. So here's your two ends. Well, all I did was tie just a single knot there and pin it. And then these little ends that you have left, I just literally just tied them in a knot. And that's where you're gonna hang your wreath from. So just make sure that when you pin this, and there's your little hanger. So when you pin this at the top, I would put a couple of pins and then just take your glue and glue your pins in so they're gonna stay in that straw for you when you hang your wreath. You could put a little bit of glue on the end of the pin before you push it in too, it will help. As long as you get them so they're not gonna slide back out of there. That'll hang your wreath up nice. Then it has that nice little decoration on the side. While it's hanging on your door, you can see that little bit of rope going around there. That's that. And then I think we have a little time. Our next class is Halloween. And it is, I believe, October 11th, but I'm sure that someone can put that in the chat for us. We're gonna do this crazy spider den. We can go to front facing. There we are. So we're gonna do this crazy spider den. Michael's has these fun Halloween colored florals and this great fun skeleton spider. I started out with this was a skull, so it's on a, I'm gonna show you how to cut out a skull shape from our XPS foam. And made a fun spider den on it. And I do believe it is October 11th.
Yes, that is correct.
So that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks for making it fun with FloraCraft. We'll see you next time.